All right, everybody, welcome. Hi, my name is Wendy. You are watching Wendy Makes Art on Twitch and Wendy Fine Art on YouTube. Thank you for joining tonight. We are working on a new piece, the Dino Lisa, and we're replacing Mona Lisa with Brontosaurus and or any other saurus, sauropod, large, long-necked dinosaur that I can come up with and create. So initially what I did was just kind of get a feel for colors and what that palette looks like, because I'll have a specific watercolor palette that we're going to narrow down and put together. We're going to need to draw this out. And then I have been thinking about this week and went today to the zoo because I was thinking that his head shape reminded me a bit of the Komodo Dragon. Just, he's longer, so there's much longer space in here. And of course, his nostrils are up here, so this would be moved in here. But it kind of gives me a really good idea of how this base, like if his nose was even longer. And I really liked how these eye pieces came in over here. I thought it kind of seemed, look how long this is in the back. So, oops, I put it over there. So if you see, I've got this big long piece. I could almost take this guy and add a long nose on this down here. Okay, and it would remind me a lot of this guy. Just the way he's set up. Now, his mouth won't turn like this. Like this is up a little. It's still down. And what I want to do, I haven't had a chance yet, is to really look at how inset the teeth would be. Annie C, welcome. Hi. Annie C, everybody just sent me a bunch of big-eyed needles so that I can bind books with my thick, sorry, I have something stuck in my throat. I have wax covered linen thread, and so she sent me some needles to try out. Thank you so much. I'm super excited. I've been doing these books, and I did that on Art Tooltip Tuesday, I think not this week, but the week before, and made books. And then I'm still making them, and here's just kind of where I am with this. I decided this paper cracked. This is a side note, guys. Sorry about that. But this paper cracked on the binding, and so before I punched the holes, I glued a piece of fabric. I just took scrap fabric. I didn't, like I could have gone bonkers and done a nice finish on these, but these are just little 1-week journals I keep. And so, like they have 8 pages in them. It's just 2 folded over sheets. But I thought it was kind of fun to do that. Isn't that fun, Annie C? So I did that, and I still have 2 more in this set with these covers to make. And so I'm excited to try this. I'll probably do that tonight after we do dinos. Okay, so I went to the zoo today at lunch. I work. Those jumping on, thanks for joining. I'm so glad you are here tonight. And I was just talking about, I took a bunch of pictures of the Komodo Dragon because I felt like his head had potential to give me some insight into this guy. The other thing is somebody had done a sculpture, and you know, one of our 2 Komodo dragons at the Albuquerque Biological Park was out. The other one was missing. And he was sitting here completely still. Now, he closed his eye once, and I thought he was going to go to sleep. And then he opened it again. So he did not move. He might have moved his head a little bit. Like, look how he looked a little more at me and then kind of away. But I love the inset of the eye. So I tried to get a close-up He was far, far away, by the way. So I went full zoom in and tried to get a close up to see this eye, because I think that's really going to help me with this part of my Brontosaurus. So we're going to use a little bit of that. The other thing that I thought was really cool that I found out was in Australia, where I'm going soon, they have found in 2025, last year, they released a big article, and they have found a piece of skin. They found almost a full Brontosaurus fossil, and they found food in the guts, which shows that they ate conifers, and then their stomach grounded up. So they didn't chew. They just kind of swallowed it whole. So I think their teeth, which that was the other thing I wanted to look up, was if their mouth part would actually go way over this. Like, you wouldn't really see these teeth in here. I have a feeling they're just kind of mostly hidden underneath the rest of their mouth. So that's my suspicion. And I'm also really curious about this little piece in here, if there was something on their head. I don't know. Because there are some with, they've done like the illustrations will have a horn up here. And that makes sense on why there is this piece right here. So that's really interesting. I want to see how far these teeth may like be hidden underneath their little lip, if it's really, because they grazed. So I don't think they had like big buck teeth. I think they were mostly hidden in there. And I was going to look at cow skeletons to see how their teeth set, and goats and grazing animals, sheep. Because I want to see how grazing animals, look without all their stuff. And he might have something along the lines of a grazing animal's mouthpiece. So we'll look at creating that from that. But anyway, this Australia find was amazing because they came across, it has like scales, and they're all in a diamond shape. So they're patches of scales that come in here, and then they're in these diamond shapes. I think they had, from what I remember, I think that they're like, these were within the shape, and I'm gonna have to find out exactly what that shape was, and then there'll be another one. So we'll look at that on putting that skin on and what that looked like. But that was fascinating. And I was able to snap a couple pictures of the skeleton, because look, I have his head down, and look at this. Even though this guy has a much shorter head, it still gives me an idea that this was pretty close in my head when I drew this, since I was turning it to how I thought we might want to see it, or a head down view. Okay. The other thing is, I really want to make sure I get these plants, these tall conifers from what they ate. AI told me dominant tall trees that were conifers, and they resembled modern monkey puzzle trees. So we're going to have to look at monkey puzzle trees and redwoods. So those are two things that we can start to look at in order to do this piece. But I wanted to, let's take a look. I want to start making a template that we can work from, so that I can use a nice sheet of watercolor and paper, watercolor paper. I have arches here, and I can either go ahead and start it, or I can make something that then we can trace. And I'm leaning towards drawing first and then tracing, because I'm such a messy drawer. Totally messy. So maybe we'll do that. All right, so we need this. We need another sheet of this since it's the right size, and I'm gonna turn my palette, my thing this way. So we're gonna try it this way. And I have two options. One is to raise the camera up. I might raise this camera. I should do that off. Let's just get started. Let's just start drawing. So, that being said, we're going to size it first. If this was the sheet, and I use my Mona Lisa, now that I've stuck it somewhere, 30 by 21 inches. Now this sheet is, let's try to scale it right. This is 18 by 24. Okay. So now I'm going to do to the 18. Okay, so if I do 18 divided by 21 is 0.8571. So now if I take 30 times 0.8571, it's going to be 25 inches. That is too big. This is only 24 inches. So if we try to take it down to 0.83, it's too big. Let's try 80. Oops. I want to do 30 times 0.8 is 20. So 30%. So that means that the height is right, but the width needs to come down a little bit. So we're going to take 21 times 0.8, and it's going to be 16.8 inches. And we're going to mark that. Because I'd like to mirror these dimensions a little bit. A lot. And I'm going to get my mechanical pencil. It is really raining here. You guys, I can hear it on the roof of our house. Oh, at 0.8 of an inch. So then I would say 0.8 of an inch on a ruler is okay. So it looks like it is 13/16. So we're going to go to 16 and 13/16 and mark it. There. Okay, that's our edge. My cameras are a little wonky tonight, guys. I apologize. I could try the other one and see how well it does. See if it brings it up a little further. so that you're not so close. Let me see. I'm going to add that in and just try it. Yeah, if our internet goes out, everybody, it's because of the rain. It's so unusual here for us to have this hard of a rain. And it's rained all afternoon, which is unusual. Okay, I'm going to add a new source, and I've got to turn it on. So give me a second, guys. There's one thing not connected. What is it? That's connected. That's connected. I unconnected something, and now I've got to figure out what I unconnected. Is it this? Let's see. Huh. I think it's my power somewhere. I see it. I see it. Okay, guys, let's see. Nope. There we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm struggling with getting this thing to lighten up on screen. Like, look how dark it is. And I don't know if I can come in here and fix that or not. Let's see. I do have software that may help with that. We're just going to have to see if it'll let me use it. I don't know. Yeah, it won't even see it. It only sees one. So I'm not sure why it's not seeing all my cameras. Okay. Well, I do not like that. So we're just going to go back to being on this, guys. Sorry about that. All right, I need my glasses. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it like stopped. Let's see. No. Let's see. I know. Okay. I'm back. Can you see me now? lip sync to your cot. I was frozen. I saw that. Yeah. I'm just, man. Tonight we are going to have a technical difficulty night. That's okay. Okay. So his head needs to be way up here. And I'm going to try to size it. You know, everything's a third. So if he's boxed in and comes up to here and is out like this, there is her head and her neck, which means it's going to be his neck. And then, like I said, I'm going to have the tops of these plants. We're going to look for the monkey plants for in here. If I were to do a halfway point, half to half, we'll just cheat it and fold it. I'm trying to look on this landscape what happens at the halfway point so that I can kind of gauge that. And let's just come back here because we'll work on the head. So let's see, is it going to give me enough contrast that you guys can see it? Maybe. And then we need this reference. Now I had him looking down. I'm starting to question how I did this because I don't know that we would see it. It is a little foreshortened, so that's good. But I wanted to see both of his eyes in here, so I liked having both of them. I think I'm right on what I was contemplating with this craziness. Of course, his head is going to be out to here and then out. And if I lift it a little bit so that whatever we see with him, he's more like that. So if like this is the end of his mouth, we're gonna block it in. So you're gonna see me do some different stuff. If the halfway point is here and it came up and came down to both sides and then there and here, and let's take a look at this skeleton. Now I found this great, these aren't quite the right sauruses. Let's see what else I've got in here. So this is the history of Brontosaurus. He lived 150 million years ago in the western United States. The meaning of his name is thunder lizard. How cool is that? Apatosaurus lived 150 million years ago in western United States, and his name means deceptive lizard. He was bigger than Brontosaurus. So I'm looking for in Apatosaurus becomes Brontosaurus in 2015. Latest research shows differences between specimens of Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus are numerous enough to justify two different genera. Lebowski, I'm sure you would know what that is and how to say it. Are my lips still like out of sync, guys? Does it look like one of those old time movies where my mouth doesn't match what I'm saying? Just let me know in chat what kind of craziness there is. And if it's too crazy, then I'll either do this through the whole show or I'll stop talking completely, because that gets bonkers. So I'm looking for my Apatosaurus. There we go. Here we go. I think this is a different dinosaur. This is not my dinosaur. I don't know what this is. How do I know? Oh, I know, because he's got a whole different set of his like, look at this guy. Look where these teeth are. My guy's teeth are way down here. So I'm kind of just looking to see what I can find. I'm gonna go off my illustration, and we're gonna work off of this. We'll put it sideways so nope, you guys still can't see it. Well, it's just a mess tonight. That's all I have to say. Tonight's a mess. Probably because it's raining. Right? So I kind of have stuff coming down in here. His nostrils are pretty far up in here, and then his eyeballs come over in along these sides. Right in here. And I'm going to give him nice roundish stuff going on over here. And I want this mouth pretty wide, so I've got to widen his head. Too much of an angle. And I want that lip to come down, and we're going to look up cows and sheep and everything else like that. And I want to come in here and really look at this eye over here. I wish I had one. If he would have been looking straight at me, I'm going to have to go back because I really wanted to see what this looks like in here. So I'm kind of looking where this eye plane is. And this probably went back quite a bit. So do you see how, let's find another one. Because we talked a little bit about this. Look how the back of his head is built. There's all this stuff back here. And I want to see on the one of the metal piece that I photographed, sculpture, how they did it. So they kind of have, from here, oh my goodness, I am yawning like crazy tonight. Right in there. And his skeleton is wider in here and then gets narrow. Okay. And then back, and it's pretty deep. So the back side of this, from here down, and then the bottom jaw. Okay. That helps me a little bit. And then of course he'd have his bottom mouth part down here. And then I've got my eyeball. In here. In here. It's almost like I don't show enough. I think that's part of the problem is it's so inset when he's looking the same way she is. Am I even able to pull this off with him looking straight at us? Because we won't see all of this eyeball over on this side. That's not, did not put them in the right spot. Oh, look at you. Ovis sheep. See, I knew you knew all that. Lebowski. And then an eyelid in here. And then the bottom of that guy is right here. Like that. And the question is it enough for him? Okay. And the fact that these nostrils are so high up, that's craziness. Like they're way up high on his head. They're almost back here, and they're more like in here. So we've got this big wide set. Give him these nostrils in here. There. And I think this one will be a little bit like that. And it's not lined either. Boy, I'm really not lining things up tonight. All right, that's kind of cute and adorables. See the front of let's see, a sheep skeleton. Head. Oh, they're very bottom. Look at that on the bottom and kind of long. Let's try a cow. I think it's going to be very similar. Oh, their teeth are far back, not in the front. What about a goat? They're probably all going to be the same kind of jaw. And apparently I've forgotten how to use the internet. Goat. Head. Skeleton. Images. You know, interesting, those front little teethy things are a lot like their tops, or how they came in on the top if I flipped it upside down. Just in the front. So if I took this jaw and then flipped it upside down, it reminds me a little bit of these teeth, although not really. And then if I look at a cow muzzle, let's just call it a muzzle. I don't know what you would call it. Look at that. See? Big ol'. I love that they've got, I bet these guys had something like that too. They wouldn't have fur, but I love the idea that their mouth would have been chunky and kind of fat over here on the end. So I'm gonna do something like that with him and then give him a bottom lip. So we're gonna do this fun shape. It's a chunky shape. We're just gonna call it like a chunky shape. I still don't know if it's wide enough. I don't think it is. And maybe it's like even lower. Let's get a bigger eraser. So that he could really eat. And maybe this wasn't. Or maybe it did. Go more like this. I like that better. As much as I wanted those little soft flaps. Maybe a little bit right in here. As it comes back, I guess. He's pretty adorable, isn't he? Oh my goodness, he's kind of adorable. And then I think he'd have these fabulous little wrinkles in this eyeball. So we put these in here. When I paint this, I want it to look realistic. I don't want it looking cartoony. I'm gonna do watercolor. I really want to focus on his skin and make sure that he looks realistic. Kind of like how, let me take a look at that eye socket. It's a really big oval open eye socket. We're just gonna assume that it's like a whole bunch of lizard eyeball stuff going on in there. Those are technical terms, by the way. Lizard eyeball stuff. And then let me take a look at where I almost feel like my nostrils aren't right. They are down lower. They're gonna be way down here. So they're too high. Just looking at the structure of how he's built. In so that it's a slit here, a little bit that way. Like the big long flat face. I thinking that it did chunk out in the back, like these cheeks. So if I look at this guy, he's gonna be pretty, may chunk even a little bit up in here, and then back, and then the back part of his head. So this might have come in a little bit down by where this jaw comes up. Very similar in that, and then he's got his whole bottom jaw in here. Question is how much foreshortening do we include? You are totally in the weeds, Lebowski, with all of the genus. My two dinosaurs are as different as cats and dogs. Okay, whatever. Listen, I'm just trying to do the best I can here with no living dinosaurs. And trying to turn him into the Dino Lisa. Give a girl a break. Wowzer. Alright, so this is starting to kind of come together. What would happen? I like these wrinkles too. I think that's a lot of fun, like all this wrinkly stuff, and they swallowed everything. So how wrinkly were those necks that came down? I wonder if they were like, you know, like, oh, so wrinkly in here. I really like I think it would be great to have that wrinkle simulated around the edge of this head here. So that's kind of cool. Because I'm trying to think of how they swallowed all this stuff and they had to just kind of like get it down this long neck of theirs. How would that pouch in underneath? Can I get a fur enough away one? Oh yeah, so that's a really good feel for it. So it might be along that line. Like I love that where we have the feeling of that pouchy neck underneath. Also looking to see how this mouth of his will come down. Got to indicate that it's going to be like this. working too hard on these. So I'm not even going to show his little teeth in here. Oh, I think he is just so cute. Cannot even begin to tell you how adorable I think he is. In, out again, and over. And then this will be down more like this, and probably shortened a bit on this side. Over here, over here, over here, and there. But, no, still not wide enough. Really nice and wide is what I'm looking for. So this up and under, kind of just dragging it back so that this neck has these lizard-like folds in it. Because I think it would. I think it would be very, you know, they might have big, strong necks, but still, they have all these folds. Oh, Lebowski, I don't even know what to say. Coming back here. And what to do with this face as it comes up in here. Any of you guys are new to this channel on here, what I'm doing is famous artworks in history with a dinosaur theme. And this started out as more of a really fun and lighthearted work. And then somewhere my realism took over. And I'm trying to get them accurate. Really important to create these believable creatures. And make these gorgeous paintings with them so that it's inspired and a takeoff from the famous artwork, but I'm not copying the famous artwork in like some kind of ridiculous way. And in the process, I'm learning about dinosaurs and even modern animals, because I have to study what lives now. Practicing my drawing skills, learning a lot about plants, so flora as well. It's turning into a monster project. I'm hoping that these guys will end up even, like this might be 16 not quite 17 by 24, but that's this version. And then what I'm hoping for is at some point to have a lot more time to dedicate it and make them massive, like 6 foot tall pieces, and just really, really big. So in a way, these are studies for later paintings. I'm looking, let me see my drawing of his skeleton. Yeah, I think we're okay with this, to do it like this. Just trying to see what's going on in here. How can I make this a little more believable in the neck? And how would these kind of keep floating down in that neck? I'm gonna have to play with that a bit for whatever's going on with him. May have to go further. I can't end it like here because that's just not gonna fall like that. I think it would go way further down. I think it's on the right track. I like these folds right in here. Okay. And then what else? Let me go to that article I sent myself. Let's see. Maybe. Okay. I want to pull up the skin. Okay. Hexagonal scales covered in tiny lumps. And the scale bar is in centimeters. So guys, check this out. This kind of gives you an idea. Hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So more like a hexagon in scales. And I'm thinking these would be more in here. And this was pretty small. So if that's in centimeters, let me look at something. That's millimeters. I don't think I have centimeters on here. I'm gonna have to check a different scale, because then I need to figure out No, I'm not putting long hair on Mona Lisa. So I am going to color him so that it, if you guys look at, do you see how I've got it more of a golden color in the center here? And then I'm really picking up, I'm going to go into a little bit of this red brown and these really dark colors. back behind. So what I'm hoping to do is build his skin really lizard-like, and color it so that it is colored like the Mona Lisa. But I don't want to make this into something that it's not, like really dorky. Like these landscapes back here, I want it to be as if he's in the land and it's a really dark, foggy, like almost rainy, stormy day, and it gives the feeling that this is really that time. Okay. Now I lost my article. And I gotta go back. Okay. So 6 sides. And then I really can't tell. It's like they're made up of these little bumpy things. So they've got, but I'm looking for a pattern. Kind of has 1, 2, 3. One and a long one, and 1, 2, and 3. There's some crazy noises outside. So it's either the TV or people getting their trash or the storm. It's a little crazy. Okay, but then how does that marry into something else? It's like there's dents, so that, and then this one will be here, and then this one. So they're kind of built like that on the critter. Only then I've also got to like form it to him, but I'm trying to get my brain around the general shape. What it would look like. Now I want to come in here and look at my alligators. So I did some alligator shots today. Let's see if I printed those. Yeah, not helpful. Not helpful. No pattern. This guy has a pattern, but it's not anything like what this dinosaur had. It's fabulous, but it's not even remotely like it. And then there's another dinosaur photograph, or not a dinosaur, and oh, here's a simulation somebody simulated. See, they have a pointy thing on the top of his head, and so I've probably got to put that pointy thing. Now look where they did the nostrils, up high, and my skeleton indicates that they're up high, but I don't know that they're that high. Like here, this one I drew, these were the nostrils, and this makes it look really high. Of course, it's foreshortened, but I don't know. That's like really, really high. Now we could add some kind of a mound / horn up the middle. So we'll have to come in here like this to indicate it. And then give that to him right down here. I'm thinking it would be the middle of here and then narrow down into here. We could like work the difference and do these right in here. Kind of split the difference. And then this would be his crest. So we need to bring this up and then down the sides and through here. And then that, which I think could work. I like that. I actually like it to just make him a little, well, a lot more dinosaur-like. So it can come up in here like that. I like that. I like that a lot. I do think that this needs a little more of a curve right here. Ooh, I think it's hailing out. That's crazy. Yep, it's hailing out. This probably needs a little more this side to side. What I'm doing is trying to like really emphasize the height of this and foreshorten it. So just building, 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 building. I was thinking of like 3D shapes when I'm drawing this stuff. So you'll see me do triangles and boxes and ovals to try to feel my way around. Okay, how high is that? Is it, you know, like, is this a box here and then there's a box in front of it and then another one in front of it, and if it came down and it got shorter as it went. Goodness, this fragile, fragile, fragile stuff. So, let's say the top of the head is here, and the front is here along the top ridge. And if it got, it's broad, but it gets shorter as it goes towards this nose. keep it centered. And then if there was an arch in each one, so kind of bring that arch shape in here like that. Turned a little more this way, so that's why I've got more on this side over here than the other. Good thing I didn't use a good watercolor paper. Wow, lots of erasing, and this stuff holds up so well. Look at that, there's so much, I've smudged it so much that it's gray, which I really like because then I can pull that out again with the eraser. I do love to draw, which you guys can probably tell. And I don't have a good eyelid over here, so he needs a nice eyelid on this side. Right here. Between this bone and that. Give him a little more eyeball over on there. That side. Probably do a little more over here. Like this side. Finding my way through this. And then building both sides. Looks very alien-like, but I'm guessing that they would if we encountered them today. Familiar, but not. Hey, did anybody guys see that preview? Steven Spielberg has some movie coming out this summer, and I think it's called Disclosure Day or something along that line. And I can't tell if they're aliens and then they're revealing themselves, or people don't realize that some people are, like, maybe they aren't even aware they're aliens. I'm not quite sure. If anybody knows anything, drop a note in the chat. I'm really fascinated with it. I ran across something early this morning when I got up. I don't know what I was doing, but I came across something and I was like, what is that? And I had heard that he had revealed a new summer blockbuster during the Super Bowl. So I was really curious as to what it is or will be. Okay, how with these? Maybe my pencil just needs, nope, doesn't need new lead. I just keep breaking my lid. I like bringing this out a little more right here on the eyelid. So like actually bringing this piece right here out a little bit. So I like that. And he reminds me of lizards, but like something else also. Started to build a crest. I don't know if it's peaked enough. Like maybe it needs to be a little bumpier on top. So we can peak it up here. And then if I angle this sides more, then it won't be so flat. It'll be more angled if it comes down like this. And up this side. Maybe that's part of my problem too. That rain just pounding outside again. And I wonder if it's inset at all, if it's how that works. He seemed to have some kind of big internal gland way in between this eye. And like this comes up in it, and then around down. I still think these nostrils need to be down here. Still don't like where they are. I think they need to be further down. I'm moving them again. I think they need to be further. Only because the skeleton or the fossil just makes them look like they belong down here. I'm moving them. I like them down here better. He needs a little more room in here. Okay. And then I'm wondering what kind of bony plate would be through here. This side and this side. guy's neck again. Looking at my, this guy right here. Okay, we're gonna look at his neck. I like that there's a lot of darkness back in there. Same with these folds. They kind of come up and around. I like that a lot. Now maybe this might. Chat's really quiet, gang. It's probably all that science talk that got everybody quiet, huh? Alright, he's starting to look like the real deal. At least a version of the deal that might work. I'm trying to just really build out his shape so we feel what that looks like and what's recessed, what's not, how do the parts fit into each other. Now that I'm coming up in here, I think this may need to have more of a section in here and then this section, so, and maybe even a little further out. Keep bringing that back, but it just feels right. And this one comes in here. So that comes here, but there's a little bit of his head is back behind that. Same over in here. That is definitely bulgier back there with the back of his head. Probably the edge of a fold in here, right under here. Oh, you're funny, Lebowski. They could have found feathers, but I highly doubt it. I would think that they have found some kind of trace of feathers. I don't think they had long flowing locks like Mona Lisa. So we'll just have to simulate the whole thing with how I color, how I use my paints and the color scheme. And I think I'm pretty spot on with the color scheme. I've got to adjust it a little bit, but I think we'll do a limited palette and really match up the colors from the Mona Lisa to make it feel right, get that old look. But it will be a watercolor piece. I think it'll be beautiful in watercolor. And I think this gives it definitely the right feel. Oh, I wanted to look up, while we're at it, let's look up, where did I read that? The monkey bush or something like that they ate. It said, what did I find? I had a little sheet on vegetation. And I have lost it all, which is fine. But is it monkey bush? Monkey... Oh. Food in the belly. They fed it multiple layers, like not just the top stuff, but stuff down low. Conifers would have been huge, implying that they fed well above ground level. They also ate flowering plants, though, that were mostly low growing. And I know they were vegetarians. So I'm just going to look up conifer monkey puzzle tree. It was called a monkey puzzle tree. These are craziness. Check this out. This is a monkey puzzle tree, or this is kind of the close-up of the monkey puzzle tree. Let's see if we can find what a monkey puzzle tree looks like. That's kind of fun. And the other one, they're saying like giant redwoods. So this would have been one of the things that the Brontosaurus ate. And then, let's see, a redwood tree. Sequoia, giant sequoias. This is somebody's photograph. Doesn't even look real. Images. What I want are the tops. So like this is nice because it gives me a little bit of an idea of the tops. They are very, okay, kind of bushy, but that would give us a little more of an abstract, because here's what we've got. We've got a mass, right? So we've got her body mass, and I've got to fill that with tree. And so I think it's got to be something similar to the top of a redwood. And I want to make it interesting. And I want to show her size. So I think that, you guys didn't see what I just drew. Move it so you can see. So if I, instead of her arms, we're going to do big tree branches. Oh. Danny C, I cannot believe you won't give up on this hair. I am not giving this dinosaur flowing Mona Lisa locks. It's not happening. Just not happening. Yeah, that's not happening. Now we've got to indicate a water line, like in the Mona Lisa. So I will want to, the easiest way to do this, to make sure I'm straight, is to make just run a piece of paper across, and then I'll get my line straight enough so that we've got that indication of what's going on right here, okay? And then water. Boy, tonight really flew fast, didn't it? Can't believe you guys are hanging in there with me on this craziness. All right, so we need some sort of lake, some sort of, like, there's a mountain back here behind the Mona Lisa, some kind of abstract mountain range. I really want to make this all a little more Cretaceous than what it is. There's like all kinds of in here, some stuff like that, and then right around her chin, again, water. So a waterway, and then some kind of a trail, mountains, and the hint of land, which we can do, and I can add some trees and whatnot. But this is going to be my redwood conifer top, whatever, right in here, which will be great because then it can help me not do all of this crazy neck. We can have little hints of it poking down, but not all of it needs to be tackled in this. What I've got going on in here, in her face. Still fussing with the nostrils, which is okay. Right down to that tree line. Kind of thinking that this kind of like comes off of him like that a little bit into his neck. He's kind of cool. I like him. I think he came a long way. This is where we were the other day. Remember, we studied the skeleton, what they found from Apatosaurus. So we studied that. And look at him now. He's bigger. I have him scaled in size. We're going to do the background. And I feel like I've got a really good feeling for how some of this should come together. So that's good. And I like that little ridge right there. I think that's nice to have that little ridge right in there. Okay, gang. Thank you all for hanging out and tuning in tonight. I think I need new lead. That's probably what my problem is. I mean, I've got lots of problems, but that's one of my problems. Let's see if I can find it here. I just need a new piece. Oh yeah. Look. Maybe. Yeah. Oh look, I used all of it and then it just totally, I made a wreck. What have I done? Okay, hold on. I don't know what I did with this thing. Okay, there we go. Okay, man, oh man, just filling a lead pencil tonight is a challenge for me. So I was always a purist about just using a pencil, and then I saw all these artists started using lead pencils because they don't have to sharpen them. And I tell you what, it's really nice. Now I do love a regular pencil. I love the mark variation because this is, I'm pretty limited to a point. But I like not having to sharpen constantly. Okay, now maybe that will do it. Holy moly. Well, that was interesting. Let's go back down here. Nope. There we go. I want it really dark under this neck right here. So just cross-hatching it in. Just to darken that up. Although, maybe it's not. Maybe it's lighter. Kind of fun. Okay, yes, it is 7:50, so we are going to be getting off here in a few minutes. Besides that, on the East Coast, it's like bedtime. I don't know how my East Coast people are still hanging in there. Good job, guys. Because it's Friday night on Valentine's Day Eve, by the way. My mama sent me the cutest Valentine package. She knows I love dinosaurs, so she made me these bowl cozies that I love, all handmade with dinosaurs on them. I got one and my husband got one. And then a glasses case, which will really come in handy because I'm going to take my reading glasses on my upcoming trip, and so that'll keep them protected and I won't have to take a big old plastic case. So she made me a dinosaur glasses case. And then breakfast or dinner or lunch out. It's a gift card. And made me a dinosaur card. It was so adorable. So thank you to my mama. I loved it. Super awesome. I like this dino too, Lebowski. I like this dino even though he doesn't have flowing locks of hair. I just like him. And I think that the Komodo Dragon was the way to go. To try to get a feel for making him a little more realistic. So I've got some work to do on these wrinkles and how to do that in the neck. I'm gonna have to look at some lizards. Make sure I can get it right. And give him his scales, these hexagonal scales, whatever that magic is. So we'll get some of that going in there. Figure out my background and my big Pacific conifers, redwood trees, and start painting them. Okay, guys, have a wonderful Valentine's Day weekend. I hope that you have a great weekend, whatever you decide. Thanks for tuning in, and I will be back on Tuesday. We are going to be practicing on Tuesday night painting light and shadow, and really looking at the shadows. They may not be as dark as you think. So I was sitting in Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and it was early morning, and I saw the light, and I thought, wow, that is a great example of light, mid-value, darks where the trees were and the bushes, so you can really see this full range. So we're going to try painting it and study values and light and shadow. That's Tuesday night. We'll be back again next Friday. It will be my last Friday for a while. I'm going to Australia. So I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, follow, and if you love gouache or want to learn how to paint gouache, next week on February 19th, I am teaching gouache boot camp. I'm one of many instructors. It's a full day. You get 10% off with the code capital A, capital H, capital L, capital M at checkout. So go check out gouachebootcamp.com. You can sign up for a whole day of instruction for $47 minus $470 for the 10% off. And then you can also get replays. So that's it. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'll see you next year.